Try This at Home is an AxFi Entertainment Group production, filmed on the mall in Kalamazoo, Michigan, at Public Media Network Studios in the Epic Center.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, hey everybody. This week's. I'm going to start this over. Actually,
We're leaving all this into the YouTube episode.
yeah, it will be. All right, reset. Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Try This at Home. What's up? I'm your host, Damien Faust, with my other host, Trevor Penn, and my other host, Michael Queen.
What up?
How's it going, gentlemen?
Doing
Pretty
very
good.
well today.
All right, you guys ready to talk about soundboards?
I am ready.
I'm always ready to talk about sound.
All right, so let's get started on talking about soundboards. The first thing that I've got on this list is energy transduction. So with this, we got a couple of different places that we can have this energy transduction. So we're talking a little bit about setting, right? Whether it's live, studio, or audio for video. So who wants to kick us off on energy transduction?
Got some thoughts. Do you?
Go ahead and take it. I've got a handful that are juggling
Talking to
around.
the mic.
Talking to the mic.
Talking to the no. Okay.
Because I'm leaning in. You see that? This is real, people. This is called.
He's got to lean in.
Yeah.
You got to lean in.
I got to be comfortable.
Yeah, so virtually everything we're doing in the audio world, at the heart of it, we are transducing one form of energy into another one. And when we have a microphone, well, really, your voice is doing that too. When you're speaking, singing, whatever, your vocal cords are flapping, that's mechanical motion. It's causing air to get pushed through your throat and out, and that's acoustical energy. And then our microphones pick that up and turn it into electronic energy. But also, you got to do mechanical energy first because, as we all know, I'm going to take this thing off because you got these diaphragms.
What are you taking off?
I'm just going to take the top of this microphone off. You have a diaphragm here, and when you speak into it, there's this little coil, electromagnetic coil in there, that the air itself, it's so sensitive, it pushes it, and that's mechanical motion. It's inducing it as electricity, transducing it from acoustical energy into electrical energy, which goes down here. It's still all electrical as it's going through here, but ultimately, when it comes back out through the speakers,
Where is here? For those of us not in the visual world, who are in the audio world, when you say, where is here? Where is that coming from? What kind of microphone and diaphragm are you talking about?
As an example, I'm using a good old SM58. And on the table today, we not only have the Rodecaster that this whole thing is made on, we also have a guest soundboard. It's my own dear friend.
Round of applause button. Round of applause button.
Hit it. That's not the right one.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have some audio drops now.
Playing with them.
But it's these Xenix X1222.
USB,
yeah. And we'll get more into that one later. But that's our good example of that. But when we're talking about energy transduction, That's pretty much what we're always doing in the audio engineering world. We're transducing one form of energy into another one to do something else with it. And ultimately, the chain goes transducing it from acoustical energy into electrical energy and then back again, because this type of electronic component is the exact same type as a speaker.
What type of electronic component are you pointing to?
A microphone, an SM58 from Shure.
Well, I think it's good to interject here, right? When we're talking about energy, in very simplified layman's terms, acoustic energy means
On that mic.
On the mic,
waves.
Trevor.
I'm on the mic.
You're not.
Well, when you back off like this, you're like
well, you back
very
off
much
and then
gone.
you turn and you're completely gone.
I'm talking to the mic right now.
Yeah, but you also you turn
But you're a little
like
bit
this,
up on it like this. So
and
when
it's not getting the signal. Other way.
you can't hear that?
I mean,
I think he's hearing his actual vibration of his voice first through his skull.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we do need to turn you up.
check. I don't. Check.
That's much better.
Check.
Yeah, you're
It's
talking
better?
right on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's better. Okay.
yeah.
We're
gonna cut this. We're gonna cut this. It's fine.
But okay. So we'll cut this.
We're gonna cut the whole you fixing it and us telling you to
You
get
just
on the
wanna
mic.
Start over again from scratch. No, we don't have time for that.
No.
Okay.
Here we go. But what I was saying is, right, to put it in very simplified terms, we're talking about.
Again, dude. Like this is you.
I'm
Disappear.
looking at
You go,
I have
blah,
to
blah,
look
blah,
at
blah,
camera.
When Trevor starts talking, just
I
point the
have to
mic
look
at him.
camera. I have to look at camera.
Yeah.
All right, put my frame up so I can get this mic positioned well. 'Cause they
Right.
yell at me for saying it's in my face, and I'm like, man, it's not in my face. It's kind of in my face, but not really. All right. Then if not there, then give me some more gain stage. Go into my level.
I'm just turning you way up, dude.
No. Because I turned my gain stage down. Hold up. Let's go. Let's go back into here. And just turn the gain stage back up to where it was.
All right.
Okay. That was all.
Yeah.
That's
that
much
was all
better.
that happened.
That's much better.
My bad. That
right.
would sound like it was clipping to me, so I
No.
turned my gain stage down.
Right on.
I apologize. All right.
All right.
Anyway,
so to put it in very simple,
vibrations in the air, right? When
Yeah.
he says acoustic energy and we see electrical energy, what we're talking about, we see electrical waves. That same wave is physically happening in the air. It is a vibration in the air. Our eardrums are measuring or feeling, sensing that vibration, the peaks and the valleys, and that is what we perceive as sound. So just wanted to throw that in there. to
Yeah, that's a
simplify
much better
Not a lot
explanation.
of people know what acoustic energy is, or when you say that, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about when we're doing energy transduction for it.
Yeah,
So,
and ultimately it takes it back to the same world at the end of the day, because when you're taking acoustical energy, transducing it into electrical energy, and then mixing it and mastering it, processing it, eventually you're going to send it right back out to acoustical energy. Those are your speakers.
Correct.
So microphones and speakers at the end of the day are all just a different type of transducer. And that's
Right.
pretty much the case with almost everything else we have here. It's
And
a
that-
transducer of one type or another.
that piggybacks on our discussion that we've had about signal flow, right? So we start with the microphone, right? Which is why we had a discussion about microphones originally, and then signal flow.
Or shall we just say we start with an input?
We start with an input. That's a better, yeah. But the most common input, right, is usually a microphone.
Well, can be. Come on now, we're in a digital age now.
We are in a digital
Common
age
is
now,
not.
but I'm also speaking in terms of not just the music world, which is what we're used to.
No, right, but even just within the music world, right?
Yeah.
A lot more digital inputs now.
Correct.
That
Right.
We are
But
playing with an augmented.
when we're recording audio for video and live sound, that's not necessarily in the music space, right? What's your input?
You're right. You're
It's
right.
a
Okay, it's
microphone.
a microphone. I just said, let's call it an input. You know what I'm saying?
But
Or a
but
transducer, because that's
bingo,
what they are.
right? So when anyone talks about a microphone, a microphone is a form of an input.
Yes. it is.
Right.
Yep.
It is the most common form of input that you're likely going to use when you are filming for video. If you're trying to
Capturing
do
audio, right?
Yeah, you're capturing your audio for filming for video, or capturing audio of any source is directly through the room. You're going to go through a microphone in most cases. The exception, of course, to this is any digital sound effects that you put into a movie afterwards, which are part of the special effects chain, right? That's going to come through a different type of input. And the other differences are going to be digital instruments that may be going through like MIDI, but that's a whole different discussion for a
That's a
different
whole
day.
nother world.
Yep. Right now we're continuing on with signal flow, but we So if anyone's out there like saying, no, that's not the only this.
We know that.
We know that.
We have a time.
We have
to stick to
we
it.
have a time that we need to stick to, and B, it's part of a longer discussion.
Right.
Today we're focusing on how this soundboard works through that
I
signal
love how
flow.
I stirred just micro amounts of chaos with devil's advocate, just the smallest
Right.
devil's advocate.
Right. So with those discussions of it, right, we have that energy transduction, and we talked about how microphones pick it up. So shotgun mics specifically in a audio for video setting is what you would use for that energy transduction. It's going to pick up like everything.
Yeah.
And if for a live sound setting, right, that energy transduction is going to be kind of a little bit more chaotic if you're microphoning all of the instruments and they're all acoustic instruments.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right,
So you're
depending
gonna
on
have-
what you've got now, because right, microphones, its wave of getting smaller because it solved the main live stage microphoning
Yep.
issue, which is drum kit, being able to isolate drums better and then have better rejection, small diaphragm microphoning versus large diaphragm microphoning. But yeah, it's each little venue, right, is really what drove an innovation from a mechanical level, like a design level. When did the microphone design change, or why did it change? Is when you start changing actual industries, right? One
Right.
has an
Yep.
issue for video, and there are things we have to deal with and problems we need to solve on set. Then the next one is like, yeah, but we don't have those issues on a sound stage, but we do have these issues.
Oh.
We've got this
Right.
bomb of acoustic energy called a drum kit that is erupting volcanically live, right?
Right.
So you got
So real quick,
manage that.
cool story on that. When I was at Western, John Campos, shout out.
Western Sound
Professor John
Studios.
Campos, yeah. He invited us all to a little lecture from, I cannot remember the name of the guy. I'll see if I can pull it up while I'm doing this. But
Which year was it?
I have no idea. But it was a year that they had some sort of Broadway musical in town, and the guy who was running sound was pretty much the sound designer for the entire thing. He was like a heavyweight in the business, and he was the original sound designer for Hair when that first came out. Oh,
wow.
So he talked about how he had to try to figure out a way of miking everybody during that famous scene where everybody's naked. And he's the one who came up with the idea of putting a tiny little microphone in their
on their hair,
pointed
yeah.
down, to pick them up there. That was all his idea, and he did it because he was like, well, there's only one other place I can think of to hide a microphone.
Imagine being the bald guy in that
Yeah.
set. Sorry, you're cut for today.
So actually, being the bald guy in that set, those if you've ever
It's
seen,
Hair. There is no bald guy.
if you've ever seen the musical Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
I think the actor's name is Lamar Odom Jr.
Right.
He is bald and he plays Aaron Burr. They just
Yeah.
give him a like a clip-on.
Yeah. You can see their mics
microphone.
a lot easier
You can
there.
see
They're
his
fine
his
with it.
mic. It's one of those ear-mounted.
Oh, so
stage mics.
this is for theater stage, not
Yeah.
for video.
Yeah, I mean, in general, they
Okay.
still try to hide that
Well,
mic for theater stage
so
as much as they can.
If you see the Hamilton musical that's on Disney Plus,
yeah, I've seen it like 100 times.
it's so good.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
great.
It is it's a work of mastery on the
so many art forms
on
all
so
at
many
once.
so many different levels. Like,
I have heard so many conflicting reviews of
have you seen it?
Tell me that. No.
You should watch it.
because it's conflicting reviews. Because I thought I wanted to see it, and I saw more of the first reviews I saw were like, no, this is.
Well, you're always going to have haters, especially in the Broadway world. Not everybody gets like musicals,
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm not the
And
biggest
historic-
musical getter.
And I
Right.
get it. I used to hate them too, and then I eventually gained a very deep appreciation for them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like
And out of them, that's one of my favorites
yeah.
for sure.
There's like so much dance and choreography that is happening in a three-dimensional space. They have like a rotating sphere that moves, that goes around the room.
Like a Lazy Susan.
Like a Lazy Susan.
Not
that
just
is
one, there's
active.
actually spheres
And
within spheres that they-
Yeah, spheres within spheres
All
that the
rotating
dancers
opposite ways, and
move
it's
the set while dancing as part of a number and singing.
Yeah,
Bro, you've got
it's
to watch
dope.
it.
See-
Every entertainer in that is they are probably some of the best entertainers in the
Absolutely.
Well,
world.
let's say, from a tech
And
standpoint,
yeah.
I can see why you fellas are, oh man, this seems to be amazing. I guess, no, I haven't heard any critiques or reviews as far as from a tech standpoint, or as far as like what they're doing mechanically to make the show go down. But from like the actual like story it is or script it is, they're like, some people
think
didn't
some-
like the way that they use
I
hip
think-
hop. Some
yeah,
people didn't
well,
like
I think that a
some
lot
of the
of
imagery portrayed. And I was like, oh, okay.
I think a lot of the people who want to have that history be all white probably don't like it at all.
Yeah, of course they don't.
And people who are advocately against hip hop because they're racist probably didn't like Hamilton.
It's not like they ever even whitewash or pull any punches on any of that throughout the entire
And
thing.
the entire cast did stand up to Michael Pence at
Right
the end
to
of a
his
set,
face.
to his face when he was in the audience saying,
Oh, Michael Pence went to
Michael Pence went to
a
a showing of Hamilton, and the actors of Hamilton, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda directly appealed.
No,
to,
he's not, because
it
he
wasn't
hasn't
him.
been doing the Broadway lately.
Oh, you're right.
So it was
Yeah.
whoever does Hamilton now.
Yeah, whoever was
doing.
well, not now. This would have been like 2018.
Yeah,
I
well,
think, or
yeah, and
2019.
Lin-Manuel Miranda hasn't been part.
How
of it.
long
Hasn't been,
has
like, part of the
Hamilton
official
been
cast for a
in
while.
circulation, right? As far as like
I think
Like
around
with
6,
renown, I
7
guess.
years.
2016, 2017-ish. We
find
can
out
look
right
that
now.
up.
so it was still rather newer. I mean, there was
Yeah.
still.
But if you want, if you Hamilton's a great example of live sound, right? If you watch,
Jesus.
not just for
I would love to just shadow one show.
I know.
One time.
I know.
I would pay to do that.
not just for music, right? Because there's a lot of digital inputs that they have in there as well, but also for how they're microphoning that whole thing and how they're composing all of the lights. If you want to see a master class in how things are done in the technical world for entertainment, watch Hamilton.
2015.
You heard it here first, guys.
Go see it on stage, right? I am for musicals. I am for the theater.
Me
I'm
too.
a theater kid at heart.
And I especially love it because
I love it.
hip hop is heavily injected into it.
Oh
You know, I
man,
love
it's so
hip-hop.
good. And like a lot of
like
the
the
actors
first.
in that are amazing MCs themselves, and they've spawned their own careers
So
off of
now-
it.
now-
Lin-Manuel Miranda did a song very recently with.
He did an entire Disney movie.
So is Damien? It sounds like you're talking about a specific troupe. Then like
Yeah,
we
the
don't talk about Bruno. That's like big
that's
right now, and that was
that's
him too.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I
Yeah.
don't know what that is,
But there was
From a new
there was a
Disney
troupe
movie.
that's on the Disney Plus version of it that all of those actors in there they're legit hip hop artists too. They spit like crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty
especially the
awesome.
dude one of my favorites.
determinate fact of these spitting like crazies.
You should watch it, dude.
I
I'm
think
telling
their
you.
lunacy might be very measurable and
No,
within
bro,
reason.
I will go over to your house and watch it with you. You come over to my house and watch it. I love it. I'll watch it with you, but it's
Yeah.
3 hours long.
Yeah, we took a break.
man, y'all
I
are
actually,
asking for
I watched it in
so
2
much.
parts. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, I watched
there's
it in 2
there's an
parts
intermission
first time.
halfway through, so you can take a break. But I didn't. I watched. I was like, "There's an intermission. All right, I'm gonna go get something to drink." But I'm not.
if
I'm
you
finishing
create
this.
a video, that's so theater.
It is so
Yeah.
theater.
It's a video, but there's still an intermission. That nobody take intermission in this thing.
Well, the
I don't see
intermission,
why- I'm
the
used to
intermission
movies
in the
now. I'm
video
used to
doesn't
movies.
last as long as
No,
the intermission.
and you can fast
in
forward
real
through
life.
it.
right.
But it is nice to have that little intermission there because it's a 3-hour thing. It's like, yeah, you know what? I do want to get up and stretch, and I do have
Yeah,
to pee.
it was a good, perfect
So I'm
moment.
gonna go
That's
ahead
just hilarious.
and
That's
take
just
care
a
of some
life.
biologicals here.
If you've
too.
never gone to see a live theater production, you don't even know what
Right.
an intermission
I've
feels like
seen,
in the
I've
middle
seen
of
a few of them. They're
What?
great.
You're stopping right here. What are you doing?
Right.
Chop, chop. Oh,
As a
that's
matter of
good.
fact, when I saw hair back in the day, I was the only person in the room who actually had long hair. So there's a scene where they always like to have crowd participation sometimes, and there's a scene where this supposed cop comes out and he's like, "You long-haired hippies," and sometimes they go out and harass somebody in the crowd, and of course that was going to be me. They
you
yanked
did.
me on stage and he put me in cuffs. He's like, "I'm taking you to jail for smoking pot," or whatever happens in that.
We're looking like Nickelback track, Robert.
So yeah, to wrap on that subject, if you want like a master class in how you can take the advantage of how energy transduction in both a live studio and audio for video environment all at once, watch Hamilton, because they do all of it. It's audio for video because they do put it on Disney Plus. They did it live
Because they put it
They
on
did it
Disney
live.
Hey, it counts. Whatever.
Well, I think it's also on like Blu-ray too. There's other ways that you can buy it.
I
Probably
mean, they made a video version.
I don't own it. I'm not trying to sell it. Like I liked
Hey,
it.
weren't we talking about soundboards or
We
something?
are talking about
We
soundboards.
went on a straight tangent.
Wow.
I was going to let you guys do it for a while, but then I saw the time. I was like,
But,
oh.
but
Alice in Wonderland
keep in
rabbit
mind,
hole
I'm
beats
making
is-
a point.
that's
It's a really great one. all
Oh,
right?
no, you're right.
He's
That
bringing
is
it
a
home.
great-
Bring it
great
home.
I'm
point.
bringing it home right now.
Slide in the home
Those
bench.
those microphones that Queen was talking about that were placed all have remote transmitters that are picked up on a soundboard. So not only did they do that for the live setting so that the audience could hear all of that through the speakers in the theater that they did it in, they also did it for in a technically kind of a studio setting because all that sound went to a digital format that is being streamed in 4K across the country. And
yeah, I guarantee that live mix that the audience hears in the house is not the same mix that you're hearing on the video at the end of the day.
no.
Well, because
They got separate mixes
Yeah.
for that.
y'all understand, it's just like being in a studio and being on the sound
But
stage.
Exactly.
But
It's the
critically
same
think
way.
about how that entire show worked both in that moment live when they filmed it that day, and how it works in audio for video, and what they may have needed to do to remove the audience's noise from the live production.
But also have it only isolated.
Right.
Yeah, usually
they like to have they like to have audience
if you're in a venue set up for it, right? You've got those crowd mics hanging down.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can have 2, sometimes you have 4. You can have a whole, the balcony, the flooring,
Right.
the mat.
Next time
And-
you're at a live venue, just take a look up. Just look at these little. You'll usually always see some microphones hanging down.
it looks like a random cable.
and what
hanging
you'll
from
see at the
ceiling.
top usually is some sort of an AB stereo pair or an ORTF pair, and we talked about that extensively in the last episode.
And to segue into all of these microphones that they're using in that live audience, right? That theater is set up to project sound in a certain way. However, that audience is so large that they have speakers everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So those speakers are typically passive speakers,
Those are our last transducers.
right? And they are through a power amplifier and set up at different spots in the amphitheater to extend that sound out. Now, there's always, usually whenever you go to a live sound event, there is a bunch of speakers in front of the stage, right? But if it's a really big event and a really big festival, they also have speakers out somewhere else, okay?
for latency issues.
For
and things like
latency
that.
Delayed speakers,
Right.
yeah.
So really quickly, the next subject that we want to talk about is the difference of active and passive speakers and what power amplifiers do, right? Because that's at the end of the day what differentiates those two things. So to get started, let's talk about first.
I'll hop on that.
Go
I'll
ahead.
hop on that.
Let's talk about power amplifiers.
Power amplifier. Okay. I was
Like
gonna talk about
they're
the
very
speakers, but-
Well, let's talk about the difference between active and passive first, though.
That's what I was going to do.
Okay, active-
And because we can really sum it up real quick, right? Active
Yeah.
and passive speakers, it's power, right? Either you've got your speaker cabinet has a power source built into it
Yep.
Right.
that you would then be utilizing active, or it does not. And therefore you need a power amplifier, right? Because you will be generating your power elsewhere and then just having that amplified signal sent to your passive cabinet.
Powering
Very
your,
simple.
Bingo.
your passive
So,
speakers.
so as
too.
far as environment goes, a really great example of an active speaker is in the studio setting, our studio monitors that we use to hear what we're doing musically.
Yeah.
Right? Those are a really good example of powered active speakers.
Exactly. I really can't think of any decent, usable that I would use for passive speakers in a studio setting. I'd want powered monitors every time.
Well, I mean, I think you can even say it. Most people on average have just some form of grade computer speaker. If
Right.
you have computer speakers, you have active speakers.
yeah, and
Right.
there's no
That's a
point to
great
have
way
a
to know
whole other unit just to power those
Right.
speakers.
You have to
Right.
you have to
It's better to
physically
have
plug
those.
those speakers into a power source in order for them to work.
If you have
Which is where-
an amplified and passive system, like by design, you can get some great
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
home studio design stuff,
Well,
but not necessary.
For the live sound setting, whenever you're doing events like a musical like Hamilton or a concert like we've done quite a bit, you're typically working with a passive system.
Yes, but a lot of people are moving to active
Delayed speakers?
Active ones on no, not delayed speakers. Active on stage speakers. I know that one person won't just straight out say his name. We all know him. He helped set up all the audio in here.
Oh,
Last time I
yeah,
talked to
yeah.
him, he was switching to those, and that's why he was wanting to sell those passive speakers in his power amps to me a long time ago.
Gotcha.
But yeah, typically you're going to see passive speakers.
If you
at a
have
live show.
you have the electrical output capacity from your sound stage, I think every live performance tech crew would want to go.
He does
active
because he actually builds his
way
own
less
fuse
gear,
box.
but it's just the limitation has always
Yeah.
been, at least with some of these live shows, if you're doing a big old school, metal concert with
Yeah.
huge cabinets and all
You're
these draws,
fighting
and then
all
you're
of
trying to put active speakers all put that soundstage.
that
doesn't
is
have enough-
ridiculous.
You're gonna short something
Never.
out genuinely in that system. But
Plus, those things are already heavy as they are, and if you're putting power on them too, like
Well, I mean,
You're gonna need a crane to
at
lift
that
those
point.
This is
At
where-
that point, the power is
Yeah.
minimal to the weight. Well, I guess no. I guess you could
This
say
is
it's
where
similar.
I'm actually going to appeal directly to metal as a genre as a whole, that I want you to embrace the tech. Metal and like all of those purists who are like, the old way of doing things is the best way. It's not anymore.
It's not.
Okay, I love the
Is
sound
that, is
of
that
tube
what
amplifier.
metal means? Is that the
Well,
old way
metal,
of doing things?
no,
is
no,
the best
metal,
way of
metal,
doing
amp,
things?
metal specifically. They like to have big speakers for big sound.
Yeah.
And you can get that sound without those big speakers and those gigantic amplifiers. You don't.
Well, it all depends on the size of the room and how much you need to push that.
So what
sound.
you're saying is
But
metal.
but even
But here's the thing: they think they need that for small clubs.
So
you don't.
So am
you
I
don't
hearing?
need your
You don't
your
even-
big half
Wait,
staff
wait,
for that
wait.
small
Hold
club.
up. So then, am I understanding then that we are openly then agreeing metal people are
you guys aren't letting me finish.
big truck overcompensating?
Yeah,
In a lot of cases, yes.
that's exactly
Right.
right. That's truck nuts, pretty much.
Basically, yeah,
okay,
they are
okay.
they are overcompensating with, like, at least the metal bands that I've played with. I've seen some of them start to switch and like do things a little bit smarter and not as like loud.
Right.
Like, you can get that sound without being that loud and hurting everybody's ears. Like, there's a small venue which is like maybe a 75 capacity venue, like 100 capacity venue, that I did a show with some metal bands when I was playing in a ska band. We did the show called Ska versus Metal, and I made the mistake of splitting up ska, metal, metal, ska, right?
Oh, dear.
So what ended up happening is the metal bands cleared the rooms because they were all using 412 and or in some cases like 812s.
They scared everybody off?
with 100 to 150 watts tube running through those speakers.
I've been the guy doing that,
And they
before.
just blasted
Dirtbags.
They just blasted the whole room. Like, I could not listen. Like, I had to leave the room because I didn't have hearing protection. And I was just like, man, I've been a musician for 20 years.
This is not necessary.
And like, this is not necessary. Like, I love the bands and the people in them. They are all my friends. I care about you. But look at a Strymon Iridium modeling pedal.
I heard.
I'm appealing to you metal fans here. Look into how amp modeling works now and how it's changed and gotten so much better. You can seriously sound like a JCM 900 or a Mesa triple rectifier with a pedal now and go through the live sound mix, and you can get that deep chug. And metal fans, you know what I'm talking about. You can get that deep, down-tuned chug.
I love the chug too. Don't get me wrong, I chug all day.
And it'll sound amazing
Chug this
through
beer,
a
baby.
modeling amplifier or a modeling pedal that models an amplifier or a smaller amplifier. You can get that metal sound through less than 40 watts tube. You can even get it through solid state. Believe it.
Yeah.
Right? You can achieve it. I believe in you. Get rid of those speakers unless you're like Metallica.
Unless you're doing big, large outdoor events, you
don't need them.
You're just a.
Or selling out
I don't want to
arenas.
cause editing for myself, but you're a bunch of for bringing them. You don't need to bring them. Those are your truck nuts. Just get a combo. Leave them home.
Get a combo, or honestly, get an amp modeler. Like, those rigs in and of themselves, especially if you have like a Mesa triple rectifier or something like that.
I love them. Don't get me wrong.
too. They're great.
That's my
They
favorite
sound
amp.
awesome, especially in
I
the
want-
studio.
Well, I heard a great
Never-
musician say, "Hey, if it doesn't sound good quiet, it's just crappy guitar playing."
I agree with that.
So-
I agree with that. Actually, that may have been one of us that said
I
it
do
recently
agree.
in one of
when
our
I
calls.
hear about
Is that me?
No. I just in general when I hear about rock concerts and they're pushing dB, it's usually because they're trying to mask very poor guitar playing. And
not,
it doesn't
not
mask it,
always.
it just
Some
makes it
like
very
honestly,
loud.
in these metal bands that I am specifically talking about, the guitarists were top notch, man. These dudes
Right.
shred. It's just that it was so loud. And to be fair, the root of this is not necessarily just metal guitarists. It's metal guitarists trying to compete over metal drummers,
Yes.
who are. You have to play loud and hard.
It's
for
a
that
lot
sort
of
music
egos
a lot of
trying
times.
to fight each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Bingo, right? And that you do need to play fast and loud and hard, and I do believe in that as an art form and a form of release, but you can play fast and loud and hard without hurting people.
Oh yeah. That's
Like
just-
physically hurting their
you have to
hearing.
have that conscious perspective.
I'm looking at
Because
you,
metal
Jucifer.
doesn't seem like
I'm
the kind
looking
of
at you,
environment I see
Jucifer,
that floating
specifically.
around.
The wall of sound, like seriously, like baptizing people in sound is a bad idea. They will never hear silence again.
Yeah.
They will never hear sound again soon thereafter.
Right,
Also.
yeah.
Look, we love you. You know, I'm a metal guitarist. Metal is my home and everything. But as I actually started to take lessons and get
I don't
better,
want- yeah.
one of the first things I noticed is that my tone was absolute crap, and I started to learn how to do that and how to clean that up and how to make it sound a lot better. And so that my much better
caught all
playing
that
skills
and never
could
saw
be heard.
Chad Kroger in the
Right.
mirror once.
And
Never
that-
one time. No.
that is- that
and
is
one of the biggest
the-
things I started to learn was all this, these turning up of knobs. You can just when you're playing well, you can get rid of that. You
Yeah.
can just pull that down. And also, there's other ways of getting rid of that too. It's called a rock sock. Pretty much, if you have sloppy playing, just tie a sock very lightly on the nut of your guitar, and that will.
I don't know anything
Help your
about
solos play.
this rock sock business. I think you should be ashamed of this sock the same way every teenage boy is ashamed of that sock behind their headboard.
ashamed
It is the
of
rock sock of shame. No,
here's
you should
what
be
you need to
shameful.
do. You need to learn how to play better. And we all
don't-
start somewhere,
yeah.
but you got to put in the reps, period. Put 'em
Agreed.
in.
I
Do the rep, no shortcuts.
like I was actually thinking the other day about like there are just some things in life where there literally isn't a shortcut to, and that the best way to do it is the long way.
Yeah.
And I think that is true in the physical realm, specifically with your body, right? There's
Anything you need
there's
to muscle memory. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no shortcut around taking care of your health.
Yep.
And in that same respect, there is no shortcut to the actual mechanical ability that you need to play your instrument. You got to put in the reps.
That's true.
You got
There
to.
is a-
Period.
You remember that guy
Yeah.
Esteban back in the day who had those infomercials saying like, "I'll show you how to go from zero to the best guitarist on the planet in a short amount of time." That guy was absolutely full of it. Like,
Yeah.
it was easy to tear that thing apart, but also that's just not how music works.
That's not
Like,
how it works.
you know,
at all.
unfortunately,
some
you gotta
people
do
do
the
get it a
groundwork.
lot faster than others.
Yeah, that's true.
That
I'm
muscle
here for you,
memory
Michael.
comes through
I'm sorry
a lot
that
faster.
Esteban hurt you. And
No, he
I can
didn't
tell
hurt
that
me.
It's real. It's okay. It's okay. We're here to help you heal.
He was in that dude.
You're
I'll
gonna
tell you about
heal.
him later. Man.
All
It's a
right,
joke.
so that is a long-winded example of poor use of passive speakers through power amplifiers. To kind of
long-winded example.
long-winded example. So we're talking about a live festival, right? Because we don't have
Yeah.
a lot of time today. We might need to put our soundboard discussion into another episode.
a two-parter.
A two-parter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we
That's
should
fine.
probably we got about 10 minutes this year. We need to talk about the frequency response of speakers and the delay of sound and the speed of sound through speakers in a live environment. So first, let's talk about the frequency response of speakers in a live setting or a passive and active speakers.
So are we
Do you wanna talk-
are we talking about breaking that down when we say the frequency response, right? So it sounds like we're breaking down the cabinet itself, right? Usually in general,
Yeah.
your cabinet is having all of your sound reproduced by one transducer to the ear. I personally believe is at a PA level is not really perceiving beyond 3. You can have more than 3 drivers. You absolutely can. You can fine tune your cabinet as much as you want. Realistically, if you've got 3 independent drivers, and that specifically being, you usually got some form of a horn or what we call a tweeter, and they are specifically only reproducing your high frequencies. We usually then have a smaller woofer cone or cones, right, that we want to reproduce our mids and our warms. And then we've got normally a literally physically nice, large size woofer reproducing our low frequencies, right? And that together compositely is a cabinet, right? So I've got cabinets of these 3 drivers, or down to just, right, I've got one woofer in there type of industry producing everything.
Well, when we're talking about horns, that's a very good point. The whole reason why when they call them horns, it's not just because they have this sort of horn-looking shape on the top of them. Inside of them, sometimes they'll have this sort of like a maze, if you will, of taking frequencies on the back end of the diaphragm of the speaker and kind of moving them around in a way where it can kind of push them forward, almost kind of like a water hose, like you're squeezing a water hose, if you will.
Yeah.
That way it kind of pushes those high frequencies out of that horn-loaded speaker a lot quicker, because just like in the last episode where we were talking about how these microphones, and a lot of them in order to be dynamic, have these holes on the back of them to cancel frequencies out on the back of that diaphragm that moves. So too, when that speaker diaphragm is moving, it's not only pushing sound out this way, it's also pushing sound back the other way too.
Air back out,
Pushing air back, yeah. So we can still use that to regain energy we're losing by horn loading it and pushing it out the front.
Yeah,
grabbing it from the back.
pushing it out in general, right? And
Yeah.
if you are used to car audio, you know it as a port. As soon
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
got
there
a
you go.
cabinet, as soon as you put a hole in it, that hole is a port. Well, the horn is that we specifically designed a pathway of which we want the air to travel when being pushed back by that speaker, the transducer, and going out the port. We just designed a way for it to specifically leave the cabinet. And by doing so, you can cause vibrations to do very awesome things in low frequency and high frequencies as well. But like, I mean, the most notably, I'm trying to think, I think it's in Germany. There's an audio engineer from way, way, way back in like before all of us at this table were even born. But like designed the entire foundation of his home and everything. Is poured concrete is actually a giant subwoofer horn, and he was like he worked in audio.
Look into this.
And high but it's like
Really?
so underneath this house is like it's a giant horn for pushing out his low frequency.
yeah.
Like it's dope. You can
Dude,
see
I do-
That guy is already my hero.
So on that note, Germany actually has a lot of really great audio engineering in their
Yeah, they really
country.
are.
Like Sennheiser, I
Some-
believe. Is that a German
Sweden's
company?
also
I don't know.
Behringer-
Sennheiser,
German
yeah, for
company.
sure.
Yeah.
Neumann.
But
Neumann's a German microphone.
famously, if you're into music theory, Henrik Schenker is also from
yeah.
Germany, and he has does a great bit of work on analysis of classical composition in the harmonic style of 18th century classical musicians. His cultural views are absolute.
I'm absolutely
garbage.
putting on this show. I'm about to say I do not condone or comply with that message. Anyway,
So about speakers, we do need to talk
we don't
about that
condone
time
or
delay.
comply like we don't condone it at all. Henrik Schenker's cultural message in the slightest. We are against the cultural message. But Schenkerian analysis on the whole looks.
that was a fantastic video.
It looks cool.
Shout
Yeah.
out to the Adam guy for a great video.
Adam Neely.
Neely, that's
Yep. And also check out his platform and the Nebula platform, which is a new streaming service for content creators directly.
Boom. There you go.
They're cool. I watched the stuff through there in Curiosity Stream. It's awesome. Support it.
Cool.
So on there, so we had that description of how that frequency response is present in speakers. Let's talk about this is a really kind of a mind tricky thing, right? When you explain it to people who don't have any knowledge of it. If you're at a live sound event and there are those giant speakers in front of you, and then there are also speakers to the side and further back so you can hear all over like you're at a festival, those speakers are actually putting sound out at different times.
Exactly.
Right? And let's talk about the science of that, right? So why do those speakers, why are they put on a time delay?
So sound, different frequencies of sound move at different speeds. And those speeds will change constantly throughout the day based off temperature, humidity in the air. There's all these different factors. In fact, when we we want to do an episode someday probably just about the equation alone. But in any case, just know that high frequencies, they don't travel as far as low frequencies, but they travel faster. And therefore, when you're in one of those big live venues, when you're off in the back, when you're not in the seats in the what do they call it, the lawn, not under the pavilion, you're in the lawn, then by the time that sound gets to you from the sound stage, those lows and highs do not match anymore, and it sounds weird because stuff starts phasing out. Yep. So in order to fix that, they have some other speakers placed either next to the soundboard or quite a good distance behind the soundboard. And that's not just to project it out for you people on the lawn. It's to catch up with the high frequency. It's so that we can catch the high frequencies up with the low frequencies as they're coming that way. And that way it doesn't sound phased out to you when you're farther back.
So what's a great trick to like line those up? Like let's say you're struggling and you can't just do the math on the fly and you're like, dang, I need to get these. I'm on a time crunch. This festival starts at this time and these speakers are sounding off. What do I do to get this done relatively quickly to make sure that these speakers are they're synced up the way they need to be?
I wish I had a fast jutsu.
I do.
I don't have
You put a metronome. I have it. I have it.
Doing the math and getting it lined up right.
Are you ready for Queen Sound Jutsu?
Right, yeah, give us the jutsu. Drop it on us.
Listen, you just put a metronome through your system, and then you just time delay your time delayed speakers. You just time delay it till that matches, because you're going to hear a clear, distinct metronome.
Tick it. Yeah.
Until it's no longer.
You heard it here. That jutsu. Oh, that's it. That's it. You heard it here.
Also, I know you'll probably have a digital metronome, and we don't need to say this, but just in
And a
case
lot
you're
of
like,
boards
I'm gonna mic an analog metronome here and another one here. Don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Because analog metronomes will eventually sync up to each other in a weird bit of science. If one of them is at a different frequency or at a different time signature and another one is at a different one, they will eventually lock in place and pick one.
Eventually, yeah. Anything that oscillates and it's
What?
relatively close will at some moment seem like
Yeah.
they're sinking.
Oh, okay, but like passing, but they won't.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
not
they'll
like,
pass, yeah.
A physical metronome, right? Like the old physical metronomes that we used to use to
on top
train.
of the piano. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
on top of the piano. If you put a bunch of those in a room next to each other and you set them at different tempos, after a certain number of time, they will eventually sync up because of the way.
But
that
in passing, they'll pass each
Yeah.
other, but they don't necessarily like.
That's a
they'll
phenomenon I've
eventually
been
click,
noticing.
click at the same time because the
Yeah.
way that the energy is moving physically in the room from the metronome, literally going back and forth like
Here's
this.
a daily example where
That's
you can see
interesting.
that phenomenon. I
That's
don't know
some-
what
I nerd out on stuff.
I
like
don't
that.
know what the phenomenon's called, but I've been noticing it since I was a little kid. Actually, when I'm in the car with my mom or now driving myself, when you're doing a turn and the guy in front of you is doing a turn, and your turn signal is going, and his is blinking on and off. They don't sync, but eventually they do for a little bit, and then they not.
But
I've been
that's
noticing
a
that since I was a
That's
kid.
like
Going, am I
passive
crazy?
movement. But I think Damien is actually saying that no,
Yeah.
they will eventually become in sync.
Oh, really?
Yes. Literally.
Really?
Like
which is interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah.
I'm gonna
there's-
look into that.
There's a like that's not digital metronomes, right? Because those
Yeah.
they won't.
You have to
sync up
sync their
because you would have
clocks
to sync.
that-
yeah.
yeah.
But like an actual physical metronome, the way that the physics of it works, if you put let's say 5 of them and you put them at different tempos, eventually the actual energy and weight from the metronomes themselves moving and shifting.
So if it were 5 of the same metronome, you're saying.
They don't even need to be the same metronome.
Oh yes, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Really, that's cool.
It is really crazy.
see
the
I might be wrong about them not needing to be the same metronome, but I think that they can be different metronomes all set at different times and they will eventually sync. Just because of how they are designed to work and then how the energy in that room is working with those metronomes.
I would love to see the mechanics on that. That's just
You know
awesome.
what? Well, we
Yeah,
probably
that's fun
should do.
stuff.
Lucian's actually bringing up a physical example of it here. If you watch, now they're syncing up. These are all the same metronome, right? Like you see this on a can.
I see. Because what the hell is that?
Well, you can physically these are probably doing it a lot faster because they're on those cans
Bro.
and on that.
Exactly.
On that piece of wood specifically, that will speed that
I
process.
did not know
up.
that.
But even on a table, eventually they will sync up like that.
That's just
See,
very
you learn
interesting.
something new every day. Right.
Yeah.
Try this at home.
Yeah, and while
Even we do.
yeah. And while
You
we
say
do
that as though
have,
they are not learning things. I'm trying this at home. We're always learning things.
we are always learning things. So to wrap us up this week, we still haven't even touched on analog soundboards and digital soundboards and having setting discussions on what those do and how those work, which is going to be really exciting to talk about because we were literally talking about analog and digital soundboards in our call last night about our actual professional needs as not just musicians, but as like sound engineers for live and studio environments. We were talking about what kind of soundboards we need to purchase or that we already have and the purposes that they serve and why we need to do them. So that's going to be a really great discussion for our another episode, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and the cool thing is what you see here are, as I mentioned before, 2 perfect examples of the 2 main different categories of a soundboard. The Rodecaster Pro that Public Media Network owns, that's a perfect small digital board. It's a perfect good example. And then this is like almost the analog world component because though you can use this for many different applications, just like that one, this one's kind of made with the intention of making it easier for podcasting. And I'll go into the details about this later, as well as so many other boards in our next episode.
Whereas,
as well as this one
Yeah,
too. And
so
you've
the-
got a really good digital board we want to talk about.
Oh, yeah,
too.
I will bring it in. I will try to remember to bring that next week to be the
Actually,
Behringer
if you brought it
X18.
next week, that would be perfect because
That'd be
I would
dope.
love to have it for It Will All Hurt practice. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody, this week. We hope to see you again or, hear from you again. Or, we don't even need to see or hear from you. We just hope that you're listening and enjoying the show and the podcast, and this is informational to you. Let me try this whole thing again. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in this week. We hope to continue our discussion on soundboards soon. We hope you enjoyed the content this week and found it to be enlightening in some way. And we really appreciate having you. We're going to have our Patreons and our socials up soon. If you'd like to check that stuff out, it will be available to you very shortly. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Happy accidents and Bob Ross's. And
That's right.
good, warm,
And
soothing frequencies.
Exactly.
So.
And always a shout out to LeVar Burton for being in Star Trek and Reading Rainbow. We stand LeVar Burton too.